Hey everybody, happy Monday. Good to see you. Big breaking news to start off this program. In the case of the missing 9-year-old girl from Lompoc, California, Melodee Buzzard. Her mother, as you'll recall, was arrested, hauled off in cuffs on Friday, but police said it was for false imprisonment, nothing to do with the missing child. Well, tonight we're learning what it does have to do with and who it was done to, according to police. I'm going to fill you in on that, but also weird and bizarre news about this mother who will not say where her daughter is. She's cooling her heels in the county jail, but we are now discovering what her life was like when she was 9, the age of her missing daughter. And you will not believe what happened to her. Got news on that as well. There's more action at her home over the weekend and today. I'm going to tell you all of that. I got a live report from out in front of her house. That's coming in just a moment. And there you go. That's a picture right there. Over the weekend, believe it or not, more agents arriving and spending a lot of time inside the house. And something arrived today there as well. Okay, so all of that coming in just a moment. But then I have this other story that has brought to mind many other unsolved cases. It's the case of Anna Kepner. Anna was found dead on a Carnival cruise ship named Horizon. Very popular cruise line, very popular ship. But Anna was found dead on Friday, the day before that cruise ship came back home into port. There's a lot of rumors and speculation about how she died, and none of them good. And the questions that surround her boyfriend, who was on the cruise with her, they are very curious indeed. And why I say it brings to mind other cases, because 20 years ago, almost the identical scenario played out for my guests tonight. Their 20-year-old daughter was on a cruise. An 18-year-old daughter was on a cruise, and suddenly she was dead as well. Here's what you need to know about cruise ships and where they sail. It ain't America, and it don't operate like America. And tonight you are going to learn just how difficult it is to solve anything when you're on the high seas, what it means for murder, what it means for investigations, and what it means for families who are desperate for answers. All that's coming in just a moment. And then also, do you remember the Louvre heist? Of course you do. You remember how we're still looking for the jewels? Of course you do. You know how they've arrested 7 people already? Of course you do. And do you remember that detective who was standing out front with the rest of the police? And he was so incredibly dapper. He was dressed like Inspector Clouseau. And the internet broke. So the mystery's been solved. We know who he is. And all I can say is it's a big problem for all the potential paramours out there. AKA, don't book your trip to Paris just yet. I have something to tell you about that guy. All of this is coming straight ahead, but let's begin with the breaking news on the Melodee Buzzard case. Her mother, Ashlee Buzzard, as you know, arrested Friday, charged with felony false imprisonment. Police told us on Friday and still say tonight that the arrest was, quote, not directly related to Melodee's disappearance. But we're now learning what exactly the arrest was related to. The criminal complaint accuses Ashlee Buzzard of, quote, violating the personal liberty of a man named Tyler S. Brewer. And that is a name that has not surfaced in this case before. The complaint says that the crime happened last Thursday, November 6th, in Lompoc, where Ashlee and Melodee live. And you'll remember Ashlee was arrested the very next day. And while that leaves us with more questions than answers, we sure did learn a whole lot more today about Ashlee's background. And let me tell you, this was not what I expected. Long before Ashlee Buzzard was jailed for this crime that we're talking about tonight, and long before she was the tight-lipped mother of this missing little 9-year-old girl walking in behind her in surveillance video, this mother also was a 9-year-old girl on the margins. She was surrounded by danger, with an unstable home life herself. And what I'm about to tell you is a bit surprising, okay? Sometimes she had no home at all. But despite those unhappy parallels with her own daughter, Melodee, there is one monumental difference. Ashleigh's mother, from all indications, did everything that she could to protect her little girl. She kept young Ashleigh safe. She kept her loved. She kept young Ashleigh fed and clothed and educated. Exhibit A would be a newspaper story that our team uncovered today from 1995. February 11th, to be exact, the Santa Maria Times. And the headline reads, "School of Hard Knocks. Educators extend a hand to the homeless." And there, big as day, is a picture of curly-haired 9-year-old Ashlee Buzzard sitting beside her tutor. This story is all about young Ashleigh's escape with her mother, Lori, from an abusive father. And before I go on, you should know that we've spoken with Ashleigh's mother and we've identified that she is the Lori Miranda in the story, and she's verified the details. And let me quote the article. "With no job, home, or car, and $40 in her pocket, Lori Miranda and her young daughter," that would be Ashleigh, "faced the streets of Santa Maria." Originally living in Orange County, Lori Miranda, 33, said she and Ashleigh, 9 years old, moved from place to place, often sleeping in hotels, to be free of Lori Miranda's husband. This is a quote. "He would smash our windows and harass us." That's what Lori said. To escape, Lori Miranda and Ashleigh boarded a bus in June, and after staying with a relative for a month, they came to Santa Ana. The two eventually found their way to the Good Samaritan shelter, where they remained for 30 days. Lori enrolled Ashleigh into school. For 2 hours after school, Ashleigh began and continues to participate in the Homeless Education/Liaison Project. Remember that Ashleigh was just 9 years old back then, the same age that her missing daughter, Melodee, is today. And that brings me to the photos and the videos that Ashleigh's mother gave us exclusively of Ashleigh and her daughter, Melodee, together in 2020 when Melodee was only about 4 years old. In the clip you're about to hear, you can actually hear Grandma Lori behind the camera being playful with little Melodee, while the mom, Ashleigh, appears to be more detached. Have a look.
No? What are you? Pumpkin Scooper Duper?
Yeah.
Silly. Ew, gross. Let's see it.
Oh! Oh! That's just a gut, silly.
That's just the guts.
So look at it. Look at it.
Look at that. Oh my god.
Whoa. Hey, watch this, guys.
Here, let me see a picture of you. Look at me. Look at mommy. It's in there. Cheese.
Hey.
We should have took all those to the park for the squirrels.
Say cheese. Cheese.
To mommy.
Again, that picture you're looking at is little Melodee, and to the right, her mom, Ashleigh. And I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look like the Ashleigh that we've seen. And I hear you. Boy, do I ever. So let's compare and contrast and pull up the surveillance video from Ashleigh and Melodee's recent visit to a car rental office on October 7th. That's unbelievable, the difference in appearance. Ashleigh in the black t-shirt, Ashleigh in the wig. Hard to believe it's the same person. And on the right, you'll remember this was day one of a 3-day road trip to and from Nebraska. But police say the last known sighting of the little Melodee in the hoodie back there, and right there at the desk with her mom, was October 9th near the Colorado-Utah border, because Ashleigh returned to her home in Lompoc, California the next day without Melodee. Lompoc is also where we find my NewsNation colleague Nancy Liu, who joins me live now outside of Ashleigh and Melodee's home in Lompoc. Okay, Nancy, so much to get to tonight. You got your hands on this criminal complaint just within the last hour or so. So what to you stood out that I haven't already said?
Oh, a lot stood out to us, Ashlee, and we want to show everyone that criminal complaint. We just got it a short time ago from Superior Court, Santa Barbara County. It's really just less than half a page long, but we want to highlight some parts of it because it is quite revealing about what allegedly happened at this house on or around November 6th, it says, of 2025. In the county of Santa Barbara, the crime of false imprisonment by violence, a felony, was committed by Ashlee Buzzard, who did unlawfully violate the personal liberty of Tyler S. Brewer. Said violation being affected by violence, menace, fraud, and deceit. And you see that headline, special allegation, aggravating factors. It goes on to read, the manner in which the crime was carried out indicates planning, sophistication, and professionalism. We have learned that Ashlee will be in court on Wednesday afternoon to face this felony charge. In the meantime, she remains jailed up in the Santa Maria area. And Ashlee, as you know, we have tracked down Tyler S. Brewer, and we have spoken with him. And bear with me as I'm going to refer to my notes because I want to relay what he told us accurately. Tyler Brewer tells us that he has known Ashlee through a friend since 2014. He's been coming over here to check on her since all of this was publicized. He claims he was told where Melodee was dropped off and who she was left with, but he is not sharing that information with us. Tyler's also concerned that because of Ashlee's mental history and recent behavior, he's not sure that what she told him is actually true. Now, on November 6th, the day of the incident, he says Ashlee started acting irrationally while he was here, accused him of working with police and the paternal side of the family to take Melodee away from her. He says she kept shutting her eyes and making fists, and she blocked the door, preventing him from leaving. She slammed the front door shut and engaged 4 locks on that door. She did eventually let him leave, and he went right to authorities to report what happened. Now, he claims she has just mental issues. She's extremely paranoid. She's a totally different person from when they first met, and he says he's very concerned about Melodee's well-being, and he suspects Melodee may be somewhere in Utah. So based on everything that he told NewsNation, there is hope that Melodee is out there and alive. So what Tyler Brewer is telling NewsNation, providing a lot of hope tonight, Ashlee.
Well, let's go over a little bit of that. That's just incredible information that he has unloaded. So Nancy, if I'm to understand this, he says that Ashlee shared the information of where she, quote unquote, dropped off Melodee. He thinks it's in the Utah area. He will not share exactly with us what she apparently shared with him. But did he say he shared everything with the police, everything that Ashlee told him?
Yeah, based on what we're hearing, we haven't heard everything. And again, because of her mental state and how she's been acting lately, he's not sure that what she's been saying is the truth. So it's hard to know what to believe, but, you know, he is telling us what she told him. And if it is truthful, then Melodee is out there.
And did we get any further understanding of what drop off means? I mean, you don't just drop a child, you know, on a desert road. Was there some, I mean, do we know if there was some drop-off location, some person, someone to care for her? Anything more that indicates what kind of a drop-off this was?
We've been fishing for information. We want more information, and he's not quite ready to tell more information. His name just got released publicly within the last couple of hours, so he's just coming to terms with that. He's not sure, you know, he wants to do interviews or speak out publicly in any way, but fortunately, you know, he did speak with us, relayed that information, and we relayed as much as we could to all of you.
Okay, well, let's move on to the other action that happened in the house behind you. Action not only this weekend, but today. Walk me through what the neighbors all said happened there.
Well, first off, I mean, Ashlee's getting packages delivered still. At the front door, there are 3 packages. One is from Amazon, one is from Kohl's, one came from Burlington, New Jersey. It looks to be some kind of clothing item. So we don't know if she's just been shopping recently or what, but in talking to the neighbors, we know that 4 investigators were here at Ashlee's house. They brought a van on Saturday afternoon. It was around 2 o'clock, the neighbor says. The officers, apparently investigators, they're dressed in plain clothes. They went inside. They were there for about an hour. But according to the neighbor, they did not leave with anything. In talking with other neighbors, though, they're expressing that they're glad that Ashlee is in custody and hopefully providing some answers and talking now to police. But a lot of neighbors that we talked to around here today, they don't recall seeing Melodee at all, playing outside, walking down the sidewalk, anything, or even playing in the backyard. Neighbors have not seen Melodee at anywhere around this house. So they are curious as to what's happened to her. They are keeping hope alive that, you know, Melodee is alive and out there and will be found. So Ashlee remains behind bars.
Nancy, thank goodness for that. Hopefully they can squeeze her for information while she's behind bars. I do want to ask you a little bit about these images and the dichotomy of 5 years ago, the video that her mother, Lori Miranda, shared with us of Ashlee with her little daughter, Melodee. It does not look at all like the Ashlee we're seeing in these videos, the arrest video, the surveillance video. Did Lori Miranda say anything to you about her relationship with her daughter, Ashlee, and, of course, her granddaughter, Melodee? Like, what sort of information has she shed on you when you were able to speak with her?
Yeah. Lori has not spoken with Ashlee since 2023. The video that we saw earlier with Melodee carving the pumpkin, that was in 2020 when Melodee was about 4 years old. And yes, Ashlee looks far different. She's obviously lost a considerable amount of weight in recent years. She moved into this house about 2 years ago, and neighbors say that Ashlee was larger when she first moved in. So that drastic weight loss appears to have happened like within the last year or so. But when the surveillance pictures came out of Ashlee and Melodee at the car rental business, Lori, the mother, says that she did not recognize that as her daughter, because that's not how she remembers what we're seeing there. The Ashlee with the pumpkin. That's what she remembers Ashlee looking like.
I mean, it's like 2 different people. I'm looking on the screen right now. It just looks like 2 completely different people. Great information, just fantastic reporting on this. Nancy Lou, thank you. Break in if anything else happens this evening, or if you get any further information from Tyler Brewer, just, you know, knock and we'll, you know, cast aside all our other reporting for this. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, Nancy's going to stay on that story, and straight ahead, we've got a mystery at sea. A high school senior from Florida sets sail on a Carnival cruise ship with friends and dies somewhere, somehow along the way. Anna Kepner was a straight A student who was planning a career in the military. Now she's the center of an FBI investigation. After the break, I'll be joined by a family who lived this very same nightmare 20 years ago. They say if anyone thinks the FBI can get answers, good luck, especially when it comes to investigating cruise ships. That's next. as hard as it can be to investigate a suspicious death on land, it is a whole other world when the death occurs at sea, especially on a cruise ship. Forget the different countries and the different laws that come into play. There is the constant turnover of passengers and the housekeeping that goes along with it. And if you're a crew member, there are countless places to hide things or do things undisturbed. So it might take time to figure out what happened to Anna Kepner, an 18-year-old high school senior from Titusville, Florida. Anna set sail on the Carnival cruise ship Horizon a week ago Sunday, but she was dead before the ship returned to Miami this past Saturday. The Miami-Dade medical examiner now says that Anna died Friday morning, and now we know the FBI is on the case. But no other details are being released. The cruise line says it is cooperating with investigators, but as for the young woman's devastated family, they say that she was joyful and kind, a straight-A student who planned to join the military after graduation next spring. My next guests know exactly what Anna's loved ones are going through right now. Ashlee Barnett went on a Carnival cruise from California to Mexico to celebrate her 25th birthday. That was back in 2005. She was found dead in her cabin less than 24 hours after boarding. Her boyfriend said he found her in bed, unresponsive, and there too the FBI investigated, but no one has ever been charged. Ashlee's mother, Jamie Barnett, is now president of the International Cruise Victims Association, which helps victims of crimes on the high seas navigate the tricky landscape that cruise ships present. She joins me now along with Ashlee's brother, Seth Barnett. Thank you both for being on the program. And may I say, my condolences. Look, 20 years may seem like a long time to some people, but it isn't, I think, to folks like you. So I'm so sorry that we're talking to you under these circumstances. But I think that you have valuable information about what this family is probably going through right now. Jamie, what happened to your daughter Ashlee in 2005?
You know, it's actually still a mystery for us as well. And it's been 20 years, if that's any kind of indicator about how information comes forth from both the cruise lines and from the FBI. It's a nightmare. And, you know, I wish I had better news to say to this grieving family, but with Ashlee, what we know is she got on that ship with her boyfriend and some of his friends who were all partiers, except for Ashlee. And, you know, I've gone through the whole, am I just being a naive mom? Thinking, you know, that Ashlee wouldn't party with them, but all of her friends and her brother, all three of her brothers assured me, Ashlee? No. But he smuggled, the boyfriend, liquid methadone onto the ship in a bottle of Dayquil that he had emptied out and filled with liquid methadone. We do know that Ashlee had been battling a cold for the few days before she got on the cruise ship. And what we don't know is if she thought that was really Dayquil and took some, or if because she was upset that everybody wanted to go party and she wanted to go to bed so they could get up the next morning and go into port in Mexico, somebody might have slipped something to her to try to get her to, you know, be quiet and go to sleep and leave them alone so they could party. And the horrible fact is, because of the circumstances on a cruise ship, I don't know if we'll ever know. And that's hard to live with.
Well, you know, all of the scenarios that you just outlined, those are all crimes. And it's just remarkable that you don't have more information based on just the set of facts that you told me, or that there hasn't been some kind of charge at this point. Seth, you're in law enforcement. And as I understand it, what happened to your sister propelled you towards law enforcement. Have you learned more about the shortcomings of trying to deal with crimes that happen on the high seas based on the fact that you yourself found it so difficult to get information, even in law enforcement?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you said, that was the driving force behind me getting into law enforcement. The department that I worked for, I should have had jurisdiction if a local jurisdiction would have had it. And when I reached out to a contact I had in the department that would have been investigating it, was told that they were never a part of the investigation and that the FBI had total jurisdiction of that case, which was a surprise to me. But I guess in hindsight now, maybe it shouldn't be. After all the investigation we've done on our own, it shouldn't be surprising that the FBI took hold of it and didn't share anything with anybody.
Jamie, what, I mean, the case that you've been dealing with your daughter, Ashlee, you know, propelled you to do something as well, and that is to create become the president of the International Cruise Victims Association. What exactly does that group do, and how many people do you have coming to you? I mean, it almost sounds epidemic if there needs to be an association to deal with people who have to fight, you know, to get answers about crimes they believe have been committed against them or loved ones.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And yes, we have hundreds and hundreds of members all over the country. And recently, of course, there's been more awareness of the inherent dangers of taking a cruise. And we have had stories pouring in of people who had incidences on cruise ships ranging from sexual assaults, which is the #1 crime that occurs on cruise ships, to illnesses that were mishandled and treated improperly, to folks who had loved ones who died, as did Ashlee, due to what could be a crime, but was also complicated by the fact that the cruise line's medical response to her emergency was totally insufficient and negligent. So there's so many different scenarios that occur, and the cruise lines, you know, have a ton of money. They're a very wealthy industry with 38 million people, I believe, projected to take a cruise this year. And something needs to be done to increase and secure their safety and their security, because they don't know, these passengers, what it is they are risking when they get on a cruise ship. And the cruise industry wants to make sure they don't know.
Well, again, my condolences to you in your loss of Ashlee. We've been looking at pictures while you've been talking. She's just a beautiful woman, and I really hope that, you know, your path that you've laid might help Anna Kepner's family to try to get answers as well. But I thank you so much for your intelligence and your wisdom tonight. Thank you both, Jamie and Seth Barnett.
Thank you.
And still to come tonight, could it really be that simple? A religious group, call it a church or a sect or even a cult, wants to avoid the prying eyes of the public and the police by simply not giving itself a name. And for the most part, that actually works and has been working since the 1800s. Despite not having a name, they're sometimes referred to as the 2x2s or the Way. But suddenly, being anonymous ain't working anymore. Members of the nameless church have decided to name names, and we are naming them too. Next. Well, Judgment Day might finally be at hand for the 2x2s. And if you're wondering who the 2x2s are, they also go by a couple of other names like The Way, and my personal favorite, The Church with No Name. But make no mistake, they are all the same organization and incredibly secret, right? They're non-denominational. They're a religious movement that's home-based, meaning you don't have to go to a specific church. The church moves around and comes to you. How convenient. Their lack of official identity has actually helped this church stay more or less invisible for 128 years. But maybe not for much longer. They're a very strict bunch, y'all. No makeup, No jewelry, no dancing, no TV, no college, no sports. Ugh. 2x2 refers to the practice of sending out members in pairs to preach and recruit, but I think it might have something to do with the double entendre, referencing the animals on Noah's Ark. I don't know, it's a secret. So why has the FBI been investigating this group for almost 2 years? Because of hundreds of allegations of sexual abuse by children, or sexual abuse of children by ministers, and cover-ups by church leadership. 2 former members are sharing their stories with NewsNation for our new true crime podcast, Horror in the Heartland. Have a look.
They called it faith, a fellowship built on obedience and silence. But former members say behind that silence was something far darker.
It is literally an organization that protects and promotes the pedophiles. And so to remain a member of that, I don't want any association with that.
Inside this hidden movement, questioning leadership wasn't just discouraged, it was dangerous. Members were taught that obedience was salvation.
We are trained to respect the workers, like they are the sent ones of God, they are anointed of God, they've left their home, they've sacrificed so much for the gospel's sake.
Wow, the host of Horror in the Heartland is NewsNation's Henna Doba, and she joins me now live. I can't wait to see this, Henna. Let me just start with the obvious. What exactly are all the whistleblowers saying at this point?
Ashlee, thanks for having me on. So I was lucky enough to talk to a former victim and a former elder of the church. They're called workers or ministers. And the pattern of abuse, of sexual abuse, has been prevalent. I will bring up Sherry Autry. That's the woman you heard first in the piece. This woman right here on your screen. She was 14 when she was abused by her 28-year-old elder who was living with her. He was a preacher. And I think what's most disturbing about this is her mother knew. Her parents knew she was being molested at 14. They noticed the behavior change in her, but they were afraid to speak up. She's also worried that maybe her mom was sexually abused as a child because they've been part of the church for generations. Also, there's no safeguarding in place. Anytime an accusation was made, that worker or that minister was simply moved to another community, another sect, giving them access to fresh victims. Andy Scholas, the gentleman you heard there, he was a minister, and he says he noticed a lot of this behavior and a lot of these cover-ups. And when he would move with another minister, again, in a pair, he realized that his other ministers, quite conveniently, were always moved to other communities, and that's when the accusations of sexual abuse came out. And like I mentioned, we've talked to so many people, and the pattern has been exactly the same.
So, Henna, what I don't get is that the FBI launched an investigation last year, but the allegations have been going on for decades. Why did it take so long?
I mean, the biggest hurdle is jurisdictions. These groups, these men, most of them were moving across different jurisdictions. They were in different states. They were moving home to home. That made it hard. You mentioned it earlier. They're called the church with no name. Their mantra was no documentation. Burn any piece of paper that alludes to the sect, to this church. And when we talk about numbers here, actually, this is really disturbing. The FBI is still trying to figure this out, and I want to put this out there because the FBI has told us they want anyone who knows anything about this sect to come forward, to come talk to them about it. There's so much secrecy. They believe that there are at least I want to get that number right, more than 900 alleged abusers in 30 countries. That means several thousand victims. And Sherry Autry, she actually started a help hotline and said within weeks, she had 1,000 victims call her and share their terrible experiences with the 2x2.
You know, this reminds me of Warren Jeffs and the FLDS. They used to just hopscotch state lines in order to evade prosecution, but the molesting and the raping of children was just rampant. It was part of life. It was part of their culture and part of their actual church practices with their celestial wives of age 12. Henna, this is amazing. Horror in the Heartland. Fantastic podcast. You can find it anywhere you get your podcasts?
Yes, you can find it on our NewsNation YouTube page, and starting today, it's on Spotify.
That's my girl. All right. Well, thank you for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ashlee.
Okay, real quickly, I just want people to know that if you know of a child who maybe was suspected or victimized by the people involved with the 2x2 sect, the FBI wants you to contact them at tips.fbi.gov, or you can call 1-800-CALL-FBI. And as Hannah just said, the Horror in the Heartland podcast is available on NewsNation's YouTube channel. New episodes posted everywhere, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you subscribe, even better. You get the episodes automatically. There's the QR code. Take a picture of your screen. There's Hannah. Great job. Okay, I've got something else to tell you before I go to break. The Great Louvre Museum mystery solved. Not the jewel heist, the Inspector Clouseau mystery. Do you remember the dapper young detective whose viral photo stole the spotlight from the perps? If you assumed, as I did, that this fella on the right was a well-dressed French cop, oh boy, were we ever wrong? Emphasis on the boy. The mystery man is Pedro Elias Garzon Dalvaux. And ladies, I'm sorry to break your heart, but he is a 15-year-old boy. He's a Parisian teenager. And while the internet called him a real-life Inspector Clouseau, Monsieur Dalvaux says that his inspiration is actually a very different detective, Hercule Poirot, who is a fictional Belgian detective created by Agatha Christie. I know, I didn't know either. But how's that for a big reveal? Still to come, the Oklahoma judge who let an incredibly violent teenage rapist off with a slap on the wrist, just community service, while she hasn't heard the last of the Jesse Butler case. The town of Stillwater, Oklahoma is seeing to that. See what the Court of Public Opinion had in store for the Stillwater Courthouse when we come back. If Jesse Butler can somehow manage not to get in any more trouble before he turns 19, and he's 18 now, his past trouble disappears like it never even happened. And if you followed our reporting on Jesse Butler, you know that past trouble is bad. Jesse Butler is the Oklahoma kid who pleaded no contest to raping and strangling two of his former girlfriends and was sentenced to 78 years in prison. But not as an adult, as a youthful offender, which means that prison won't actually happen so long as Butler goes to counseling and then keeps his curfew and does community service for all of about a year. If he does all that, then at age 19, his criminal record will vanish, meaning you and I will never be able to protect ourselves or our daughters by doing a background check on Jesse Butler to see what he did to those girls, admittedly did to those girls. And while that's fabulous news for Jesse and Jesse's family, quite a few of their fellow residents in Stillwater, Oklahoma, not quite so thrilled. Last week, more than 100 of them, most of them women, descended on the Payne County Courthouse to let the judge know exactly how they feel about this.
No justice, no peace.
We're done. We're done not saying anything. We're done allowing rapists to walk free. We're done seeing the people in charge allowing this to happen.
Susan, where are the kids got to go?
Some people in that crowd were students who defied the school district's warning not to walk out of class. Adding to the outrage is the belief by some protesters and victims' family members that, and actually even some lawmakers we've spoken with, that prosecutors and the judge signed off on Jesse Butler's youthful offender status because of his family's status. Jesse was a baseball player in high school, and his dad is a former director of operations for the Oklahoma State University football team. The judge who granted the sweetheart deal, Judge Susan Worthington, reportedly has long-standing ties to Oklahoma State as well. Jesse Butler has another hearing set for December 8th, and you can bet we will be watching this one. Coming up, for most families, when your son brings home something unpleasant, the worst-case scenario is sort of like maybe a stray dog, a salamander, or maybe in later life, a spouse you don't like. But when your home is Buckingham Palace, normal isn't really in your vocab. So what did Prince Andrew bring home to the palace that had Queen Elizabeth seeing red but staying silent about it? Let's just say Randy Andy didn't earn that nickname by accident, y'all. That's next. guess when you lose your royal titles and your royal housing and all the trappings that go along with both, the people who kept your secrets when you were a prince, they tend to get, shall we say, a little chatty. I refer, of course, to the former Prince Andrew, now just Andrew Windsor, commoner, and the staff at Buckingham Palace, who are now airing decades of dirty laundry. Royal historian Andrew Lowney tells NewsNation's Paula Froelich that Randy Andy, in fact, was obsessed with prostitutes and even brought them home to the palace, a.k.a. Buckingham Palace. Apparently, this happened often, and staff members complained, but were told if they didn't like it, they could find jobs at not Buckingham Palace. And to answer your next question, yes, we're told Queen Elizabeth knew all about her favorite son's indiscretions, but chose to keep them, shall we say, discreet, away from home. By the way, he may have been even randier than that. Andrew Lowney, that royal historian, also says Prince Andrew once had 40 prostitutes delivered to his hotel in Thailand over a 4-day period during a midlife crisis trip in 2016. And most stunning of all, if he hadn't thrown in with Jeffrey Epstein, he might still be the Duke of York and invited to Christmas dinner with his big brother, the King. Don't forget to check out my podcast, Drop Dead Serious, everybody, and stay tuned for Cuomo. He starts now.